And one thing that I get pushed on me in terms of in church is to fear God. You must fear God. You must fear Him, fear Him. And it's kind of like, if I was going to be scared of something, I wouldn't want to go anywhere near it.
Yeah.
So let's define, can we unpack what is the fear of God?
What is the fear of God? It's a very good question and important one. Proverbs 1:7 tells us that the fear of God is the beginning of all knowledge.
Yeah.
So the fear of God is the beginning of knowing anything. All wisdom, everything we understand, everything we gain, without a fear of Him counts for nothing. And it's almost a place, it's a checker. It's a bit, how could I put a good example? It's almost what keeps you in check, keeps you in line. That's why you might know stuff, but actually to stay in line, you have to have a relationship with God. That's what God's saying in terms of you must fear Him, because everything else outside of Him is folly. And I heard most people talk about it nowadays that you need to have an awe or a reverence, a respect. You hear that in church, and that's true.
Yeah.
But when you look at that word as well, fear, especially in the Old Testament, when it says in Proverbs 1:7, it's actually fear. Respect is in it. You can use that as a translation, but within it as well is the actual idea of real fear. So how do we deal with that? I think there's room to have some fear in there, a healthy dose, in the same way that you can fear your parents. If you get in trouble with them, you were scared. You knew they loved you. You knew there was looking after you, but you done something wrong. Or you had a healthy understanding of what they were capable of doing because they're your parents and you're at the mercy of your parents. Even though that ties into them loving you, look after you, things come with that, like they give you a roof, they feed you, give you money, you know what I mean? Things come with it. And in many respects, God's the same in that, okay, God loves us, but also remember He's God. Hebrews 12 talks about the discipline of God, and He talks about it in many ways where if you don't listen, it can become very uncomfortable. So there's no chastening, it calls it, no discipline. It's nice at the time, but it bears fruits of righteousness. Anyone who trains in anything knows that training in itself often isn't very nice, but the fruit of it is good. So, but you have to have a healthy fear of the because you want to listen to what the trainer's saying. You want to listen to what the parents are saying, and you want to listen to what God is saying. So I think it helps that we do have a little. We don't fully. The thing is, if we don't, we get too familiar. Yeah. And we don't fully understand God. We don't. And as I said in another question before, He's not even a being like anything else. If people fear devils and demons, imagine what God can do. When I was growing up, I used to think, I'd rather have the devil on my case than God. Do you see what I mean? God, you don't want God as an enemy. So it's almost like have a healthy fear and a healthy respect of who God is. Not to be pranged or scared that you're paralysed, but in a way that keeps you in check. And then I think you'll honour Him for who He really is.